How would you react if you were scolded for your child's overstudy? What if your kid was looked after by a so-called daytime mom? It's thought to be totally okay for Russia to give your child to all classes of the world from a very early age, but in Switzerland such actions may be complained to the Children's Service. Can you imagine that in Switzerland they believe that childhood should remain childhood as there won't be another one, so there is no reason to overload children with additional classes. They don't pay too much attention to writing, reading or numeracy in kindergartens. Generally, they are aimed at games, walking and physical development. But what about working parents who want to send their kid to kindergarten and continue working? Swiss public kindergartens accept children from 4 years old. It varies slightly depending on the canton, so what to do if you want to bring your child earlier? Private kindergartens solve this problem, but it's quite an expensive thing to do with the cost starting from 80 francs per day. This is expensive, especially if you have more than one child. Many parents use a cheaper option, hiring a daytime mother, which is basically a nanny. Classes in many Swiss schools are doubled, almost like at universities. There are 20 minutes breaks between classes, which students and teachers like to spend outdoors. Inhabitants of the country pay a lot of attention to the physical development of children. During the breaks between classes, children often play active games with teachers: football, volleyball and basketball. It's unlikely that someone will manage to sit out on the bench. If a kid doesn't want to run or play, teachers will suspect he's sick and will take him to the doctor. Relationships with students and teachers deserve special attention. Local schools sometimes even have a teacher-student postal service. Each student has a personal mailbox where he puts letters addressed to a teacher and gets answers the next day. By doing so, teachers not only support trusting relationships with students, but also support the desire to write by hand, which is also very important for general development. As for skipping classes, parents can be fined from 50 to 350 francs. It is possible only for a good reason. Swiss airlines here know exactly when school holidays begin and raise prices for plane tickets, and you will not be able to fly away earlier. As for that, you can also be fined. Many Swiss private educational institutions are situated so that children have the opportunity not only to study but also to enjoy fresh mountain air and walks in significant places of the country. Let's take Brillantmont School in Lausanne as an example. It has two separate buildings not far from the lake in the picturesque natural area. The location itself allows students to visit local sites on a regular basis and moreover cultural enrichment as a part of the study program. You should definitely watch my special video about Lausanne on this channel. Must-see places are Lake Geneva, aka Lake Léman, which is the largest alpine lake and the second largest lake in Central Europe. Ouchy waterfront promenade, where many historical landmarks are located, such as Castle d'Ouchy, built in the 12th century, Château-Saint-Mère Castle, built in the Middle Ages. Another feature of Swiss private school is that teaching here is carried out in two languages simultaneously, that is, they are bilingual, and beyond this, students have the opportunity to choose one more foreign language like German, Italian or Spanish. We've talked about kindergartens a little, but what about universities? Swiss higher educational institutions in the field of tourism and hospitality are some kind of a hallmark of Switzerland. First of all, Switzerland is located right in the center of Europe. The country always handles a huge flow of tourists on its territory, so it's not a surprise that Switzerland knows how to create comfortable conditions and provide high-quality service. But when did it start? Mass tourism in the country began in 1858. Back then, English businessman Thomas Cook organized the first trip around Europe for rich noblemen. Among his first tourists in Switzerland was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, author of the books about Sherlock Holmes. Today there are about 5,000 hotels and guest houses operating in Switzerland. Meanwhile, education in the field of tourism and hospitality in Switzerland is considered the best in the world because apart from theory, much attention here is paid to practice in internships. To be more precise, practice and internships are an integral part of study. Leading Swiss universities of hospitality and management hold the first positions in global rankings. Also, Swiss universities formed a vast network of connections with leading sectoral companies around the world, where students are offered internships with such brands like Hilton, Four Seasons, Booking, Oriental and many others. You can find a video about employment in Switzerland on our channel, where I visit a job fair at Montreux. There you can see with your own eyes how the process of communication with employers and students goes. Another interesting fact about hospitality universities: the majority of students are employed here before graduation. Well, and in the end it's worth saying that many exceptional people studied in Switzerland. Thus, among students of the University of Lausanne at one time was Vera Ignatievna Getroids, who was one of the first Russian female surgeons and also one of the first women who received the title of Professor of Surgery and headed a surgeon department. During the revolution, she herself taught Empress Alexandra Fyodorovna nursing. Alexander Fyodorovich Feldman, a Soviet otolaryngologist, also studied at the University of Lausanne. Sabina Spielrein, a Soviet psychoanalyst and educator, graduated from the University of Zurich. Most likely, this name is not familiar to you until you watch the film A Dangerous Method with Keira Knightley in the role of Sabina. And in general, many remarkable people studied at the University of Zurich. Among them was a great German physicist, Hermann Röntgen, after whom the Röntgen radiation was named. Hermann Rorschach, recognized in the world of psychology for Rorschach personality test, aka Rorschach stains. Alexander Alexandrovich Herzen, a Swiss psychologist of Russian origin and the oldest son of writer Alexander Ivanovich Herzen, studied in the University of Bern. Well, we're going to break here. If you liked the video, smash the like button and make sure you subscribe to our channel if you want to know more about studying in Switzerland and education abroad in general.